Hello, everyone. Uh, my name is Kenny Jackson. Um, I use they, them pronouns. I am a third year sociology major and a cultural programmer at the Mosaic Cross Cultural Center. Hello, everyone. I am hearing myself. Anyways, um, anyways, thank you for joining us tonight for our Black History Month open mic. We're excited to collaborate on this event with the Block and the Student Union. So thank you so much for collabing with us and making this night happen. I'm excited to hear the amazing stuff that's going to go down. But before we get started, I want to share a bit about our community guidelines. Um, so we're all having a good, safe time here tonight. Um, so first, free speech, not hate speech. It's important that we know the difference between the two. Attack the system, not the community. You can criticize whatever is going on in your life, but let's not direct it towards a person or a certain group of people. Um, Express, not impress. We're here to share and express our feelings tonight. So don't feel the need to be perfect. Um, and Need a minute, take a minute. If you are trying to perform, we have some good performers, and even for the performers that are set to come up, if you need to take a minute, breathe, collect yourself, go ahead. That is perfectly fine. Um, and please, for the performers to please provide trigger warnings for when you perform sensitive material. Um, you know, your story can make a big impact on somebody. So it's important that we let people know beforehand so they can prepare themselves. And yeah, so keeping all that in mind, we encourage everyone, all the people that are watching to, uh, engage in the chat. We're on YouTube Live, so please do that. Also, we have a link going around for people who maybe didn't get a chance to sign up previously, but want to sign up now. There'll be a link going in to sign up. So if you feel inspired by our amazing performers tonight, please do not hesitate. Please sign up. Um, oh, and another important thing before we begin. Um, as we all spread out all over California and the world, we want to take time to acknowledge the Indigenous people, that Indigenous people are the true stewards of North America. We encourage you, anybody listening right now, to search and learn more about the Indigenous people in your area. You can do that by going to native-land.ca, or you can text this number 1-907-312-5085. Text that number with your city and state, and you'll get a response with information or the name of the Indigenous people land that you are on. I just did mine, and I'm in San Jose, California, and it says I'm on Ohlone and Tamian land. And it gives you more information, it gives you a link. Pretty cool, and it's important to know that stuff. And yes, with no further ado, I would like to invite Walker, who will be my co-host and our featured student artist. So yeah, please introduce yourself and Kick us off, Walker.
Hi guys, my name is Caden Skywalker, but I go by Walker. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs on San Jose State. I've been in Poets and Writers Coalition on campus for almost 3 years now, so that's pretty awesome. I really love doing open mics. I participated in a lot of them back in San Jose, so I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm gonna go ahead and be the sacrificial poet and go ahead and go first. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. This first one is like one of my favorite things that I've written. It's called The Alchemist. Okay. What is the cost of existence? Well, how much are you willing to spend? You'd think that all men are created equal, but what if what they think is equaling it to me? You see, if we could, humans would seek to quantify each other's existence until it hurt. Break down every aspect of our lives. Are you a girl or a guy? Ethnicity, gender, and size. Every moment, every thought, every sin, every message we did or didn't send. I can be broken down into a number. Hopefully with many commas and zeros on the end. And that's your price? Everything your consciousness can amount to, for all intents and purposes, this number is me. Coincidentally imposed on me by each and every one of you, because I can talk all day about what I think I'm worth and still never truly know my market price. How much are you willing to pay for my life? And it is a free market when it comes to souls. They've been traded for money, land, power, and even freedom. And here I am wondering if any of it was at all worth it, that within this grand universe, we are all priceless. Or better yet, equally worthless. Ooh. That was the first one. Okay, yeah. James Madison once said, human nature. James Madison once said in response to human nature, so strong is this propensity of mankind to fall into mutual animosities that where no substantial occasion presented itself, the most frivolous and fanciful distinctions have been sufficient to kindle their unfriendly passions and excite their most violent conflicts. Human nature is not a machine, but a tree, reaching out in all directions, and humanity is a forest. Some are lost to the trees and suffocated in the shadows of others. But is it a sin to reach for the sun as far and wide as you need, to harden ourselves to the forces that work against us? No single one just alike, and like any tree to the sun, men will work towards the object of their desire, a state of nature. And yet, are they at fault? Every man's hand against thy neighbor's, such reckless individualism for us to grow through. And still I dare to say, let a tree be a tree, and let a person be a person. All right, I got one more for you guys, and then we can probably go ahead and jump to the next one. This last one is called Riverbanks. What I learned from the ocean is to go with the motion. Don't worry about the night because the sun will have its day. What I've learned from a mirror is if you stare too long, you might find a stranger. And what I learned from Greek myths is like Icarus is you can't fly too high, but also not too low, or you will be swallowed by the sea. Balance is key. That our minds are our atlas, holding the weight of our actions. And what I learned from a traveler is there is no road that leads you to where you want to be, only to where you're going. What I learned from philosophers is that we are all fallible. So how can I ask her to trust me when I will fail? Okay. Yeah, those are 3 poems that I really, really love. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our featured poet of tonight. I'm actually a really big fan of her, so I'm super happy she's here tonight. I want to introduce Ashley Hayes, who is our featured artist in honor of Black History Month. Ashley is a is a poet and spoken word artist from Atlanta by way of Chicago, earning the nickname Big 30 because her consistency in getting a perfect score. She is one of the most accomplished poets in the sport of poetry slam. She has been a part of the Atlanta poetry circuit for over a decade, and has been writing for over 15 years. Ashley Hayes is a three-time Queen of the South Poetry Slam champion, two-time Women of the World Poetry Slam finalist, and two-time National Poetry Slam semifinalist. She recently appeared on NPR's Tiny Desk series alongside Queen and Slim composer Blood Orange, and her sophomore book, Smoke, is available now. Thank you, Ashley, for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Walker, for having me. Y'all are this is great work so far. You put on an amazing set. And I'm telling you, y'all are probably one of the most good looking groups of people that I've had the pleasure to work with. So thank you so much for having me here. That was a lovely introduction, Walker. I'm going to read some poems. And hopefully that during this set and during Walker's set, I see somebody said that they were inspired, that you all sign up for the open mic. There is very few things that I miss more than just sharing poetry and hearing other people's voices. Oftentimes I get invited to perform and it's just a performance. So when I get to do open mic, especially virtually, it's really cool because I get to hear all kinds of different work. So if you have any work to share, please feel free. And I have one rule during my set, and that is if you hear something you like, let me know. And I would like that rule to extend to everybody's set. If you hear something you like from a writer, let them know. How can we do that, Ashley Hayes? I'm so glad you asked. I love these little reaction buttons. Let me know how you feel. If you want to use the chat to put any responses to lines that you hear tonight, feel free to use the chat. If you have any questions, I will be checking that throughout. But I'm going to start with an introductory poem. This poem is called Autobiography, and it is exactly that. It is me deciding to rewrite my story. This evening, I'm going to be reading from my new book, Smoke. And Smoke is a book about heartbreak, but more importantly, it's a book about how to go through heartbreak and how to grow through heartbreak and how to come back out on the other side. And so one of the things that I had to do was decide which parts of my story were important to tell, which parts of the story that maybe other people could relate to. And so this is after a poem by Rudy Francisco. He's got a poem called My Honest Poem. So this is my version of an honest poem. It's called Autobiography. My name is Ashley. My favorite color is purple, and I watch way too much Netflix. Like watch an entire season of the Great British Bake Show in like a day much Netflix. I believe in wearing leggings as pants, and almost everything I eat ends up somewhere on my clothes most days. I'm too lazy to actually fold my clothes, so I let them sit in the basket the majority of the week. I don't watch much sports, but I still don't forgive the Atlanta Falcons for blowing a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. I work out 3 days a week. And I'm still not comfortable saying that without people looking at me like the liar I used to be. I used to be a liar. I used to tell myself all the things I would do on Monday, next month, New Year's Day. But now I believe in today's. I don't believe in grape flavored things because they never taste like grapes. I think Coke canceling the Sprite remix is one of the biggest tragedies of this generation. My father died when I was 22 years old. I have finally forgiven God for that. I have survived the type of heartbreak that makes monsters out of men, yet I choose softness. I choose healing. I choose love. I choose to open my heart again. I have learned to care less about what people think and learn to walk in my own truth. And that's the most gangster shit I'll ever do. A man made a mess out of me he couldn't clean up. Then Black women and queer folks stepped up to help me finish the job. And if that ain't a metaphor, well, this ain't a poem about courage. A poem about a girl who could have clocked out but didn't. A poem about how life knocked the wind out of me and my village showed up to nurse me back to health. A poem about how much I have loved and lost and got the nerve to still be standing. Damn it, I'm magic. I'm also human and flawed. I have let pain do the talking where love should have. And I'm still forgiving myself for that. I am the person who skips over a song every time but refuses to take it off the playlist. If my life were a playlist, it would start with Stevie Wonder and end in the Google Dolls Iris. There would be much Justin Timberlake, Sade, Jill Scott, and a little Cardi B. There would be 3 different versions of Hotel California and my mother's favorite spiritual. When people ask me what I do for a living, I say I am a storyteller. And the one that has become my favorite to tell so far is my own. Thank you all so much, San Jose. You all can get your own copy of Smoke at ashleyhayes.com. I'll put all that stuff in the chat at the end of the show. Please follow me. I'm on Instagram at Ashley Hayes. That's ASHLEEHAZE. And I'm going to keep going. I want to talk a little bit. It's Black History Month, one of my favorite months of the year. And so I have an interesting story where I come from folks who are Great Migration folks. So that means that my folks have roots in the South. And then my grandparents took trains up north to start a better life, what they thought was a better life. And so my folks are from Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. And then we ended up in Chicago, Illinois. And then I was about 10 years old and my parents moved me back to the South. So I had this very mixed upbringing of like very much city life, very much American South upbringing. And one of the things that I love is the family reunion where you can just go and you see your favorite cousins. And it's always so many different types of cousin, right? It's like the one that wants to make the potato salad when that's not really their ministry. The one that's always in everybody's business. But all in all, I absolutely love family reunion. So I wrote this poem about my folks, about people who grew from ash. Chicago is a city that was burned down and then rebuilt. So this poem is called Multitudes. We contain multitudes. We weep. We fight. We know grief like an old lover. We play cards and talk shit. We play the dozens. And if y'all don't know what the dozens is when you talk about somebody's mama. We play the dozens with boundaries. Because I'm going to say something about your mama. But you say something about mine and I'll be ready to fight. We throw shade about the potato salad. We footwork and juke. We eat fish and spaghetti. We fail, but make the trying look good. We hide Aunt Annie's wig. We scrape up $1 to go to the candy lady. We ask daddy even after mama just told us no. We steal a piece of Sunday dinner before it's cooled off. We burn our mouths and still come back for more. We be a scorched people who know the heat of fire, but live always to tell the story. So that is Multitudes. That's about my people them. Oh, I see your comments. This is awesome. You all are pasting the comments from YouTube. Somebody said I'm magic. Yes, you are. We are magic. There's magic just to be here. It is a miracle every day that we get to wake up. So thank you all so much for being here and sharing your space with me. I'd love to tell you another story. So I was a freshman or sophomore in college when I came across a film called The Help. And if you haven't seen The Help, do yourself a favor and watch it. But The Help is a story that details the lives of maids during the Civil Rights Movement. And when I first saw this film, it was one of the first times that I saw a depiction of women that I could relate to. It was my first sort of hint at representation. I said, wow, these women remind me of my grandmother and the stories she would tell me and the story my mothers would tell me about my grandmother. And so I thought a lot about that film. And so my professor at the time had thoughts, they had thoughts about the depiction of Black folks in media. And so I wrote this poem to sort of reckon with that, for what it meant to see that part of history, both the good and the bad parts on screen. And I also wrote this poem as like an homage to Saturday morning in my mom's house. So I'd wake up and my mom would be like making biscuits and playing Aretha Franklin on the record player. And that sounds like a really good Saturday morning, except when you realize that means you're about to be cleaning all day. My mom's in a good mood. She's cooking. She's gonna be like, tell your friends you can't go outside. You are gonna be cleaning my house all day. And so that kind of upbringing inspired this poem. And it is very simply called The Help. You is smart. You is kind, you is important. I'm in my sophomore film class when my white professor reasons that Black women across America ought to be outraged at the depictions of the maids in the film The Help. I think to myself, outraged about what? The only people ever offended by the truth are those who, when given the choice, prefer the lie. I find this film to be mildly nostalgic. It reminds me of my grandmother who cleaned houses by day and was a Chicago hotel maid by night. It reminds me of my mother showing me pictures of her grandmother's house back in Mississippi. The floor shined even through the photographs. She reminds me We didn't have much, but it was always clean. It reminds me of Saturday morning spent earning my right to go outside, back when children had to earn the right to go outside. Are the baseboards clean? My mother would ask, as if anybody but her ever noticed a dirty baseboard anyway. It reminds me that cleanliness is next to godliness, and I have the blood of broom-toting angels flowing through my veins. What were you expecting? This ain't no Ancestry.com commercial. This is a story of history at its finest, the story of women who kept their prayers in their apron pockets and sprinkled them over dinner. So the children they raised would know love long after they were gone. Women who knew 101 ways to use Crisco. Women who knew school is somewhere they'd been once upon a time but can never go back, because 90 cents an hour keeps bellies full and clothes on back. So it makes me mad is that you, like too many people I know, think that this history is something to be ashamed of. It's okay to be for any other chapter in the history book, but you be cursed if you be this. My knowledge of my ancestors may only span 200 years, but I am proud to be the daughter of freedom marchers, of Mississippi maids, of Birmingham martyrs. You laugh at our grandmothers for getting this language wrong. They were just trying to do their best with the stolen pieces they were given. On May 6, 2012, I graduated from Georgia State University, and it was a testament to the women who came before me, who cleaned houses so that I wouldn't have to, who served coffee quietly so that I could be a poet. It was for Geraldine Harris, Ophelia McGinnis, Aunt Katie, Aunt Essie, Aunt Annie, so they would know I don't take anything they've done for granted. What makes me mad is that you make fun of the mantra. My grandmother's spirit speaks to me every day. You is smart. You is kind, and doggone it, you is important. Thank you all so much. I'm gonna do a couple more poems before I hand the mic over to our lovely open micers. I do hope that some of you all share your work. There was such a good introduction made earlier by Kenny. Thank you so much, Kenny, for those words, for those reminders, for setting the tone for the space. I think that those are just such good community guidelines to go by, but we are here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but share. We want to hear what you have to say. And so I had a cool opportunity to write a poem as a part of an online exhibit. And the online exhibit was centered around this idea of prayer. It was called Prayers from LA. So they invited artists to interpret prayers for what they thought prayer meant. And so I'll talk a little bit more about this, but in the book, I kind of grapple a lot with religion and figuring out which parts works and which parts didn't work, and which parts I liked and which part I was like, okay, cool. Or, really curiosity, remaining curious as to why we do things. And one of the practices that I decided to keep from my upbringing is prayer. And to me, prayer doesn't have to be one way. It doesn't always have to be like on your knees, praying hands. It doesn't always have to be at a certain time. I always say I talk to God like we homies, like, what's up, fam? Like, really traffic at 9 a.m.? Okay, I'll take it. Like I try to have this like ongoing conversation with whoever or whatever's out there. And so I wrote this as a prayer, just sort of as my manifestations, my affirmations, my wishes for myself and for us. I pray for light. I pray that it sliced through the darkness and that we see more clearly the air of our ways. I pray for air. Pray my people be breathing and not needing permission to do it. I pray the Black girl wins. Pray she be placed on a pedestal with no apology. Pray she know love. Pray she be held by a brown-skinned man who picks flowers more than he picks fights. Pray the brown-skinned man know courage. Pray he persevere even when the world calls him threat. Pray he tender. Because what is more divine than a man who knows how to hold space for softness? I pray the babies laugh. Pray they taste sour lemons and sweet honey. I pray the moon cuddle up next to you. On nights that seem more alone than others, I pray for days off, where my self-worth is not determined by how many things I have crossed off my to-do list. I pray comfortable leggings and warm hot chocolate. Pray for my mama's macaroni and cheese and my grandmother's pie. I pray like me and God homies. And what audacity to petition a goddess who has already gone through the trouble of waking you up. I hope the gods know I be humble in my asking. Hope God remembers he calls us children of a king. I imagine the universe expects a wish list to match. We be entitled to love. and to ask even if the answer is no. We got a right to wish and want without somebody calling us rotten. We be good fruit. Pray we sweet. Pray we hear even after the storm. So that is my poem. My prayer for all of us. Oh wow, thank you all so much for the love in the chat. This is really a dope group of people to be hanging with. I wish I was on the West Coast. There's nothing I love more than getting West Coast schools on my calendar. Anytime my agents are like, "You're going to California," I'm like, "Yes, let me pack all of my things. I'll be gone a week, even if it's only a day, because I love being on the West Coast so much." So hopefully I will make my way back there when it is safe to do so. I'm going to do another poem from the book, and then I'm going to hand it back to the host for a little more of an open mic section. And this poem I actually have not done this month yet, so this will be fun. Megan Thee Stallion just dropped a new video, and some of my favorite figures in the hip hop are like Megan Thee Stallion, Dreezy, Cardi B. I just love any woman who's confident in herself and what she does. But also, I'm from the South, and twerking is like this very sacred art form. And so I wrote this poem. I always, tell this joke that I get paid to do poems for a living. And so I write poems about twerking because I don't get paid to twerk for a living. But I love it so much that I want to write about it. And so this poem, it's inspired by the Black National Anthem, Back That Thing Up by Juvenile and Cash Money Records. So this poem is called Shake What the Motherland Gave You. He says real women don't twerk. I say, oh, really? The last time I checked, what I do with my behind don't make me hold my head any less high. I remember before you called it twerking, me and my cousins would pop in the backyard at the family reunions, and it didn't make us any less women. I remember watching my mother and her sisters move their hips like there was freedom in their bones, and it didn't make them any less goddess. We have been shaking our behind since before we knew what foreign soil tasted like back home. Call it mapuka, call it kukade, call it sacrifice for the gods, and I will present my offering every time I hear Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 and the 2000s. I will not let you tell me that the Africa in my back is something that I should be ashamed of. I will not let you tell me that I should quiet these drums. I will display them for all the world to see, because they are mine. They are mine. They are mine. So I wrote that poem for anybody who gets the bright idea to police women's bodies, for anybody who gets the bright idea to tell us what we should and should not be doing. I hope that you twerk to the rhythm of your own drum. And that being said, thank you all so much. That was my first set. I will be back again for a second set. I'm going to hand this back off to our lovely host, and I will see you all soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley. Wow, those poems were amazing. Like, especially the Multitudes poem. Like, that really brought me back to like all the family reunions and like being bad with your cousins and stuff. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we're gonna be going to a little break. Again, if you feel inspired, please sign up. We are ready for you. And yeah, see you back in 5 or so minutes. Yep.
How things will slip. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill. Eyes open at the crack of dawn, I'm ready. Trigger happy with ambition, but I'm steady. Mind focused on the music and progression. Dedicated, my work ethic can't be questioned. Grab me Zona from the fridge, get to chalking up a plan. Ain't too much in the talking, keep it silent when I can. Young scribe, call my tribe. Got epic shit to do, like make the illest music we proceed to bring to you. From the intro to the epilogue, my shit will be impressive, dog. Concept so progressive, y'all can't skip over the chances, nah. Up every night, plotting, my mind dark, got some jetpacks, they flying. I'll fuck with you if you got one. Excuses, ain't got one. Make it happen if we want that. See that shit we like, and be like, run that. Make it happen if we want that. See that shit we like, and be like, run that. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, this is how we chill. Beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, beyond infinity. Still black laces and every pair of Vans. T-shirts with my name, you should cop one if you can. Shout out to the fans, they inspire me to inspire them. Long list of things, we get higher than I'm high again. If you see me out, say what's up and we can kick it. It's that jetpack lifestyle, don't acknowledge limits. Catch me at the park in the zone of meditation. Please don't kill my zen with your lack of concentration. Reaching levels they don't know, going places they don't go, gaining knowledge they don't show. Yeah, I'm living like a pro. I just want you all to know I'm really just a chill dude with some chill music and a chill crew. Green tea, samurai, verbal ninjutsu, songs to help you get through so this cold world don't get you. Underdogs I get to cause I know they can relate. I said it many times, we just wanna be great. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, this is how we chill. Beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, beyond infinity. Never had a point where I doubted my abilities. I'll be doing this from now until infinity and beyond that. A higher plane, I'm on that. Reaching out to UFOs, trying to make some contact. Never had a point where I doubted my abilities. I'll be doing this from now until infinity and beyond that. A higher plane, I'm on that. Reaching out to UFOs, trying to make some contact. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, 2013 till. This is how we chill, this is how we chill. Beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, infinity beyond, beyond infinity, beyond infinity.
These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Why they wanna move like that? Why you want gone? Why you want act like that? Why you play hard? Generations caught up, look how things will switch. People they're quick, now they wanna move at the quick. Boy wanna go 10 buck, quick. Whole gang, whole man, old school, young jam, all black, MZ, still screaming out of that chain gang. Generations caught up, look how things will switch. People they're quick, now they wanna move at the quick. Boy wanna go 10 buck, quick. Whole gang, whole man, old school, young jam, all black, MZ, still screaming out of that chain gang. These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Why they wanna move like that? Why you want gone?
All right, we are back. I really just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I know a lot of my friends and everything are out there, so thank you guys for coming as well. Next up, I want to go ahead and invite Armani. She's the program director from The Block, to share a little bit about Black History Month and what are some of the events that we can all look out to for this month.
Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. So I'm going to go ahead and perform my piece first, and then I will go ahead and lead into my programmatic duties. Anyhow, really interesting. I don't think I've performed a piece for, I guess it was like over a year or two ago. I don't really know, but I know my heart is beating and a little nervous, but you know, we're here, and I hope everyone enjoys this. I wrote this piece on August 29th. One day when the sun was rising, the sun was coming in through my blinds, and I just took some time to just kind of like dance and move my body in front of it. I've always had a great affinity for my shadow. So I'll show you. This was a photo that I had taken one day. Or no, I had done a video, and that was a screenshot from the video. But yeah, I'll just share the poem that I wrote after I had done my little fun sequence in the sunlight, and hope it resonates with all of you somehow. Silhouette challenge, you're funny. But yeah, anyway, the poem is titled Ode to My Shadow. You teach me, guide me, and show me so much, more than I ever give you credit for. You bring me back to a point of no return. When I come back to myself, I see the pain, confusion, loss, frustration, disrespect, neglect, and envy in our ways. You introduced me to ego. Y'all are best friends. At least that's how it seems most days. Through the many pain points and downfalls, you've also taught me resilience, perseverance, grit, gratitude, grace, compassion, and above all, love. Love for me, others, and beyond. Just as you absorb my silhouette, I've absorbed your lessons, disguised as me, not, a part of me, not, a part of me, true. More to learn of you, new. On one journey is two. One cannot be without the other. We are one. We are an inevitable duo. You're always near, never far. The lessons, experiences, and situations. I live with you always and hold dual meaning. Always an opportunity to choose. Me is my highest good, or you is my ego's star-crossed frenemy. Every circumstance, we have two parts. Or we have two paths, me and you, an opportunity to correct and shift. Respecting what you've shown me on all journeys. I must not be embarrassed of your presence if I respect our journey. Through all the lessons, how can I remember you? Looking down on you shouldn't be the only remedy. When you're by my side, we're truly one. Maybe that's why I always enjoyed to profile silhouette. An opportunity to bask in the often unseen beauty of you and me. Beauty untamed by clothes, skin, dimples, and folds. Just our ethereal, eternal union in light and love. So yeah, I wrote that poem. I usually pick up poetry just randomly, just whenever I feel inspired for whatever reason, but on a good day, this was probably one of my best ones. In the past, it's usually just kind of gotten me through different experiences, but this was definitely one of my biggest highlights from 2020. So yeah, thank you. But anyhow, thank you everybody for listening and indulging in that experience with me. I will go ahead and get to my programmatic duties. So, once again, my name is Armani Donahue. I'm the program coordinator of The Block, the Black Leadership and Opportunity Center, formerly known as the African American Black Student Success Center. Anyhow, I just wanted to mention that Our Black History Month calendar is still being finalized. We're almost complete with it. So look out for it pretty soon. It'll be on our channels as well as Mosaic's channels. And I would also like to yield some time to the new director of the block, also an alumni of San Jose State, Emerald Green, to share a little bit more about, hi Emerald, share a little bit more about some programs, especially one that we would like to share with you tonight, which is in partnership with some other centers on campus. But without further ado, I will go ahead and yield my time to Emerald. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Armani. And shout out to that poem, really all the feels. Thank you for sharing that with us. Greetings, Spartans. My name is Emerald Green. Pronouns are she, her, and hers. Class of 2013. I'm so excited to be back on the campus community virtually, right, though, and serving Black students. And I just want to come to you and share a little bit more about what we have planned for you. Those of you that are truly seeking community, we encourage you to tap into Black History Month 2021 and to programs hosted by our partners, Mosaic, as well as The Block. I would love to share an upcoming event happening on February 24th from 5:30 to 7. This is an event in collaboration with a couple of different partners, really centering our Black immigrant experience. It's titled Black Lives and the Immigrant Movement, a conversation with Dania Joseph. So we are super excited to be bringing Dania Joseph virtually to campus. She is a national immigrants' rights activist. And we're really just gonna be talking about the intersections of BLM, right? And the immigrants' rights movement and the ways in which us as Black folks have been erased from the narrative. And so we encourage you all to tune in. That information is going to be sent out campus-wide. You can find that in our newsletter that we sent on Tuesdays through The Block, as well as on our social media. So looking forward to seeing everyone. Feel free to reach out to us if you have questions. Armani and I are here to serve you and support you. And thank you for tuning in to tonight's program.
Perfect. Thanks, Emerald. Hope everyone has their Black joy on tonight. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to Walker at this time to go ahead and perform into your next piece. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this program, and stay tuned for more good stuff.
All right. Thanks for bringing me back. Thank you both for giving us that information about what's going to be happening this month. I know I'm really looking forward to it. I figured it's a new year. I'm a junior now in college, which is kind of crazy. So I figured I'd go back to my very first poem that I wrote in my very first poetry book. So yeah, let's go ahead and do it. It doesn't have a name. Don't block the door. I've wind in my sails with which I could go anywhere, even to the ends of the earth. So please don't block the door. Laugh with me, fear with me, see with me. We will scour waters through windy riots and still straits. Stop blocking the door. Could it be that you were a tempest with no wind, a front to placate me, which only misplaced me? I should have known not to trust the storm. All too often do they go as fast as they come, breaking walls, bringing ruin to foundation, scarring the land. Just open the fucking door so I can see what I know lies beyond. Yeah. Maybe I should name that one, but it doesn't have a name for now. Okay, this next one, it's called Seek Discomfort. It's kind of the motto I live by. So yeah, I'll go ahead and jump into it. My mother always says I'm blessed with a rational mind and a hopeful heart. Yet I knew the moment this girl walked through that door, I needed to be a better man. Because with the way this girl stole the room, beautiful and talented, she's everything I want her to be. But what if she doesn't want me? What if I can't be the man she wants me to be? What if she thinks she's better than me? What if she doesn't like me because I'm Black? Well, there's nothing I can do about that. What if she isn't everything I think she is? What if she stabs me in the back, cheats on me, and steals all the money in my bank account? What if she's busy? and I don't want to bother her. What if these irrational dots don't come from a rational mind, but are contained in an entirely different space? It's warm and inviting. It keeps me alive and others in hiding. Of course, fear. It's embedded into our genome to be scared of the unknown. No, don't look outside. You don't know what's out there. Stay inside where it's warm and safe, and there's a big cozy armchair. You're comfortable right here. That is how you remain stagnant. Find it sufficient, the comfort of fear, like to only partake in her beauty from afar. You must seek discomfort to try anything new. So believe me when I say I'm going over there to talk to that girl, because I'm more afraid of all the days I could miss out on with her simply because I stayed comfortable. Yeah, I really love that poem. It's actually based on a true story. If any of you have been to Cafe for Scotty, I wrote it literally that same day. So yeah. Okay, this next one's called Photograph. This photograph is a snapshot in time where we looked fine. Life always looks better in picture. We were a team. She was the catcher to my pitchers. So what went wrong? Where did the end begin? Because I know at the time of this picture, I never knew so much pain could be contained in two hearts. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but none of them tell our story, because this photo is propaganda, a staged front, a facade filled with props and fake smiles. The only thing real here is the ink and love. So let me tell you, to me, all I see are memories of joy and pain and love that's lost with arguing. And why did you have to lie? Lie to me. This is more akin to a tome of our inhibitions. And this picture will go on forever telling a false story. But I know the truth, that we are now strangers who share a photograph. Yeah, I feel like that one's kind of self-explanatory. This next one is called L cubed, or L to the power of 3. Walking into a fight you know you'll win is more akin to a slaughter. Walking into a fight that you know you'll lose is suicide. But why is it when I fight with you, I don't know the outcome? How come I never get to choose? The 3 battlegrounds of my existence have remained consistent: life, love, and liberty. Continuously fighting for larger pieces of me because it seems like my liberty loves life. I want to be free from fear and anger, not being able to trust pretty strangers, be free from pain. So you see, my liberty dislikes love because it hurts to love, because love likes to hurt. And still life likes the liberty to love anyone it wants, even if it hurts. Oh man, I haven't read a lot of these in a long time. I haven't read them in like a year, so this is cool. This next one is called Whiskey Danger. Okay. Let the forces that be stay still. Don't test my steel before I steal away and keep others at bay, because I'm dead. But don't cry. Instead, just pour one out on my face so I may taste my one true love, alcohol, my lips. God, I love this shit. I can't be happy without it. Don't doubt it. I'm a baby without its bottle. If you're not within my grasp, get away from me. I don't need to be coddled. Just give me another glass. When I do have you at last, we are picking daisies and posies in the grass. It doesn't last. And then I feel like I'm a poser and I'm lonely. With you, I feel grown and all-knowing. I need another drink before I have to sober up. Splash some cold water from the sink. I should probably break this link between happiness and alcohol. It's getting harder to sleep, because at night she whispers in my ear and whisks me away, but then leaves, and I beg, please don't take my whiskey away. I snap awake. Beads of sweat down my face. My heart quakes with the taste of fear on my lips. Fear tastes like last night's beer. I turn to the nightstand and see my flask. With you, there is no one night stands, and at long last, I can take another sip. For me, girls are like alcohol, and she was my favorite sip of whiskey. God, do I hope she missed me. When I'm drunk or in love, who doesn't like a good buzz? That warm feeling fuzz, it sticks with me. So when I die, I do hope it's with my favorite glass of whiskey. This is gonna be probably my last one. I wrote a lot of these poems my freshman year. Freshman year is hard. I don't think a lot of people talk about that, but I definitely dealt with some stuff. But I think writing it was a really powerful and good way to really get your emotions out. So, if anyone here doesn't do that, I would recommend it. This last one's called The Lion Sin. I have the most deadly sin, which is that of pride. And it stands by my side, ready to cut down anything that really wants to see just how proud I am. Ready to weather any storm or survive any changing tides. And if you look with your eyes over any horizon, you'll see it. My greatest sin, looking down on you, casting a shadow that could overpower even that of the shadow of the valley of death. So I fear no evil. It is beneath me. No one can unseat thee, my pride, because I alone will be the builder, and my pride will be not just the cornerstone, but the foundation of both my amour propre and amour de soi, which sits upon a hill so I can see all who approach. So please, don't test if these proud walls work, because I promise you that you'll find that these proud walls are as fragile as they are tall. I won't let another break down these walls, not like she did. Such is the sin of pride, and yet I'll keep it by my side, because me and it built this so we may one day stand upon a mountain of our achievements and our enemies. My pride will be realized as I seek to make it proud. Okay, yeah, that was my last one. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let Kenny take us off. Yeah, take it away.
Wow, thank you. Wow, Walker, those poems were amazing. Like, I was just sitting there, like, watching, just like, whoa, like the emotion. It was so raw. Thank you so much. Well, yes, so it is the first open mic of 2021. So if you didn't get a chance to sign up this time, please sign up next month. Every first Thursday of the month, there's an open mic. So if you want to learn more, please check out Mosaic's Instagram at SJSU Mosaic. And yeah, just get in there. We're ready. We're here to hold space for you. So without further ado, let's get back into our featured artist, Ashley Hayes, for her second set. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny. You all are amazing poets. And Walker, I cannot say that I had that many poems even written when I was in college. So bravo to you. Bravo to those who were brave enough to share. And I was able to hear the poem that was inspired by the photo. So that was also really dope. You all are just a great group of writers. So I'm going to do a few more poems and then we're going to wrap up the set. At the end of the set, I will tell you the story about how Missy Elliott ended up in my living room, but you have to wait to hear it. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about the other themes in the book. Let's talk a little bit about heartbreak. The cool thing about heartbreak is that there are so many ways to heal: music, just like spending time with your community, eating food you know you ain't got no business. But I had a very complex breakup a couple years ago. I had spent almost my whole adult life with a person, and then suddenly we weren't partners anymore. And so I had a lot of grief to unravel. I had a lot of stuff to get up and get out. And so one of the tools that I came across was by a woman named Brene Brown, and she's a social scientist out of Texas. And she does a lot of work about human connection and how we relate to each other. And one of the practices that she uses is called the SFD, or the shitty first draft. Her theory is that when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're in grief, when you're enraged, that first thing that you think you want to say to somebody, you should write it down and let that be your shitty first draft. She's like, our first thoughts are almost like, our petty thoughts. And she says, get those out, get that out the way, and then you can get to the meat of it. And so this poem is kind of like my version of an SFD. It is called Text I Almost Sent My Ex-Boyfriend. And I always say, if you don't get anything out of an Ashley Hayes show, get that you can be in grief, you can be sad about a breakup, but you do not have to text your ex. You can put it in a poem, you can leave it on the page, it is safe there. And so this is Text I Almost Sent My Ex-Boyfriend. Happy birthday. Congratulations. Did you see the moon tonight? Does she know how much her happiness cost me? Why? I would ask if you were happy, but I know happy people don't behave this way. Did you pick my name out of your teeth before you kissed her? What will you tell your children? What parts of their origin story will you redact? Why? Why? Answer me, damn it. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I saw that crap you posted on Facebook. It wasn't cute. Remember that time we drank milkshakes under the stars? Remember all the good intentions we had? How's the forgetting going? Any tips you'd like to share? I am trying to scrub you out of my bones and the stain won't lift. We never had love. We had nostalgia doused in possession, and that is not enough to stay. I'm not the same woman you left. Amen. Amen. Was that you driving behind me? Was that you at the grocery store? Are the kids all right? I dropped something on the ground and had to choose whether or not it was too soiled to keep. When did you decide that this was not worth dusting off? The day after you left, I messaged the man I told you I wouldn't. He didn't respond. Amen. Andre 3000 dropped a new verse today. Amen. Amen. Alex Trebek has cancer and I am not okay with this. My therapist says we should expect to grieve for the same amount of time we knew each other. I hope she knows we ain't got time for that. Every day since you left, I count the things I would have done differently. I know by name the wounds I made, and I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Amen. So that is Text I Almost Sent. Let's keep talking about like this kind of love thing because it comes up, it's a part of our lives. Whether it's a short part or a long part, I think we all experience heartbreak or disappointment. And so this poem I wrote is a handbook of sorts, a manual. It is called The Subtle Art of Missing. It has a longer title, but you have to get the book to get the longer title. But it's The Subtle Art of Missing. And it's essentially the subtle art of missing someone who you know is not good for you, who may not have your best interest in mind, and to just really understand that you can miss them and you can miss them in a healthy way. And so it's so funny today they announced that they're putting Brandy's Cinderella on Disney Plus, and I'm so excited about that because growing up I always had this like vision of like having a fairy godmother. I actually have a godfather. I called him fairy godfather. And I said, if I was heartbroken and getting ready to do something really ridiculous, like text message my ex, what would I want somebody to say to me? And so this poem came out of that. And this poem begins with a quote from the brilliant Nayyirah Waheed. She writes, "Someone can be madly in love with you and still not be ready. They can love you in a way that you have never been loved and still not join you on the bridge. And whatever their reasons, you must leave because you never ever have to inspire anyone to meet you on the bridge. You never ever have to convince someone to do the work to be ready. There is more extraordinary love, more love than you have ever seen out here in this wide and wild universe. And there is a love that will be ready." Oh, I see your quotes. Thank you all so much. Y'all are digging this. So this is The Subtle Art of Missing. You do not miss him. You miss his brand of high. This is withdrawal and nothing more. Have a seat. Take a deep breath. Drink a glass of water. But whatever you do, do not call him. You know how this ends. You know he will not answer. Leave him be. He has already left you. Make room for both grief and gratitude. Give yourself permission to miss the smell of smoke mixed with his skin. Grieve the loss of a house you grew up in. Look at the pictures. Play the song you danced to on his birthday, but for God's sake, do not beg for his bullshit. Do not spend the winter waiting on the bridge. Spend it by a fire in the warmth of your own love. Spend it with those who know a good thing when they see it. Those who read all parts of the paragraph text messages you sent. Those who aren't afraid of light or truth. I mean, haven't you given enough to the godless? Ain't it time to collect your things? Ain't it time to realize you can't love nobody into loving you? Keep everything you wanted to give him for yourself. Be the lover he wasn't brave enough to be. Love your way through this, because sobriety, it is a process. Thank you. I see your comments. Thank you all so much. Yep, don't beg for BS. Please, please, please. I've done it. And it's not cute. It does not feel good. I think that we should always, regardless of the relationships, whether it's work, whether it's school, whether it's romantic relationships, whether it's family relationships, have to value ourselves first and know when to get ourselves out of harm's way. And this book was just a lot of me figuring that out. And so I want to talk a little bit about like this Cinderella theme again. I always had this now that I'm older, I realize how ridiculous it sounded when you say it out loud, but I always thought that you like get one partner and that's forever. Like you meet somebody when you're like 18, 19, 20. You fall in love, you get married, you stay together 50 years, have some kids, send them to college, all of that jazz. And then I realized that not only will you have multiple loves in your life, most times, more often than not, but that it may not last long and that it can still be love even if it doesn't last long. That was a difficult lesson for me to get. And so I wrote this poem called Epilogue. And the epilogue is usually the author's last words in a book. So this is the final poem of the primary manuscript in Smoke. And I started with a quote from Toni Morrison, her novel Jazz. She writes, "I didn't fall in love. I rose in it. I saw you and made up my mind." And I thought a lot about what it means to make up your mind. On the cusp of fall, I met a man with a name sweet as Louisiana. He brown, butter, beautiful, and brilliant as a Saturday afternoon. We love like we've been practicing. Like the years made us wiser without taking any of the softness. We Black and brilliant, and together we debate politics and music and Oprah. We love like we done got good at it. Then one January Sunday, before winter could get comfortable in our bones, I reached for him and he did not reach back. And that is how the story ends this time, not in drama or tragedy, but in romance. In this one, I do not make a scene. I exit stage left and send for my things later. I eat sushi for a week. I call my sister and cry, but I do not spend the spring begging to be loved. If I have learned anything, it is not to chase ghosts. This is an exercise in love too. Learning to let go of someone when they decide to let go of you. So I do see that someone asked about the book. Yeah, absolutely, you can get a book. Those are available at ashleyhayes.com. And I'm gonna put that here. Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. Bravo to those who can. And this book is also available on Audible. A lot of people have found that they like listening to the words, like on the way to school, on the way to work, on the bus, wherever you are. You can take this with you on Audible. You can buy it on Amazon if that's more accessible to you, or you can buy it right at ashleyhayes.com. I will happily sign it and send it to you. So yeah, feel free to get the book that way. Thank you all so much. I'm going to do a couple more poems. Then we'll talk about, we'll do the Missy Elliott poem, and then we will wrap the show. So I wanted to do this poem. I'd be remiss if I didn't do this. This is like my favorite time of the year because it's not only Black History Month, it's also Women's History Month. And we get this opportunity to really center ourselves in the history of folks who are often left in society's margins. And so, in the theme of church and religion, one of the things that I kept was this idea of like a hymn. So if you've ever been in an old church, especially, they're usually these long wooden pews that are the seats. And on the back of those pews are like a Bible. And then there's a book that's next to it that looks like a Bible, but it's actually not. It's a hymn book. It's a book of songs. And hymns are traditionally like poems. They are songs of praise and worship and reverence. And so when I wrote this poem, I thought that Black women should have their own song. And so I wrote this, and it is called Hymn. Lean in. Let me tell you of a wallless church, a congregation of women in the business of saving, women who do the heavy lifting while the world gawks from the sidelines, women who, when given the trash and the broken, refuse to think you disposable, women who serve as a second womb for the motherless or for grown men intent on not doing their own emotional work, and we let you bask in the greatness. That is, should you be so lucky to be granted this magic, because we might side-eye you to kingdom come, might roll our eyes until you poof and disappear, and ain't that sorcery? The way our defenses protect us from the elements, from a winter of fuckboys intent on getting all of our harvest, and you so vain you think we do this for you. As if we wake up in the morning pandering to the world's gaze, as if the women of Alabama and Wakanda have nothing better to do than to save men from themselves. Lean in. We save ourselves first, and you get saved in the process, and ain't that the way it always goes? We get dressed in all the work we do, and you are saved just by touching the hem of our garments. Black queer women create social justice movements, and you make it about people oblivious of their own privilege, who demand we be Black first and women when it suits them. Our intersectionality is a myth. Misogyny is a weed that grows back no matter how many think pieces you spray on it. The trouble with being the savior, though, is people don't usually think you need saving. They don't think you need gentleness. To the women, I say, I vow to be more gentle. Know that you are worthy of someone who helps you with the work. Too long we have dined with the world, serving food from our own gardens on tables that we bought and built. All that I have, I owe to Black women. And here I say glory to the women who thought I was worth saving. Glory to the women who think I'm enough, even on days when I fall short. I say, I see you. You be visible, and you be worthy of all this praise. So that is him. I'm gonna do another short poem, Warriors, and then I'll wrap the set. This has been quite the time, quite the way to spend a Thursday evening at home. This has been great. This has been a warm crowd. I'm so glad that this happens every month. I wish I had a monthly open mic when I was in college. So thank you all so much for hosting this space and cultivating this space. I can tell that the work you all do is paid off. You all have great attendance, great audience. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This poem is called Warriors. It is for the women who show up, who do the heavy lifting, who are ready to fight when it's time. When the revolution comes, send me women who smoke, and drink gin and cuss loudly. Send me women who sit with their legs open, messy-haired women who cock pistol for sport. Send me women who wear comfortable shoes, women who change the tires and check the oil, then tell the tow truck man to keep it moving because he took too long. And ain't it just like a man to take too long? Send me the women who roll backwards and know all the verses to the International Players Anthem. Send me Madam Vice President in Tim's. Send me the village of the unladylike, and watch us save your sorry asses. So that's Warriors. It's a fun poem for me to do. So let's talk, right? So I've been doing poetry for 5 years now. This is my 5th year anniversary. February is my 5th February touring. And of course, only my 1st February touring from home. But I have had the joy and the pleasure to go to colleges all over the country. And sort of the catalyst to this, I've been writing and I've been doing poetry slams and doing a lot of work to be ready. But I wrote this poem about the first time I saw a Missy Elliott music video. I was listening to the radio one day in Atlanta traffic, and they have like this old school hip hop station, and they play a Missy Elliott song. And I'm like, Missy Elliott can't be old school because that would make me old, right? And so I'm listening to it, and I hear like these notes of feminism in her work. She would say things like, ain't no shame, ladies, do your thing. Just make sure you ahead of the game. And I thought a lot about what that meant to empower women, especially before we had language like intersectionality and feminism. You know, Missy was just rapping, she would go in and record. And if you haven't heard of Missy Elliott, you can change that. You can go to YouTube after this set, you can type in Missy Elliott and you can watch probably 20 hours of music videos by her, maybe more. Like she's got so many music videos, so much work. But anyway, I write this poem about what it means to see that. And so somebody records the poem and posts it to the internet. And it kind of goes viral on Twitter. And I get a DM from Missy Elliott's Twitter account. Like, I love the poem. Can I have your address? I want to send you something. And so I'm like, either I'm being catfished or I'm going to give Missy Elliott my address. So we'll just take a shot, right? If I die, I die. And so I send the address. And then the next day I'm sitting at home watching Jeopardy, minding my business like a good elderly millennial. And I get a knock at my front door and Missy Elliott is standing on my front porch. So I'm like, are you lost, sis? How can I help you? And she's like, no, I came to see you. Surprise, I came to talk about the poem. And Missy Elliott comes in my living room and we talk for like an hour. She's in my bathroom, like she's in my house. And at that moment, I realized that maybe this poetry thing could be like decent, right? And so I ultimately end up getting an agent and I travel and I perform poems. And it is always my favorite poem to share. It is called "For Colored Girls Who Don't Need Katy Perry When Missy Elliott Is Enough." Third grade, I'm in the hallway and I'm sure I shouldn't have been. And Corey White comes up to me and asks, yo, have you heard the new Missy Elliott track? I reply, who is Missy Elliott? At the time, my parents only let me listen to gospel in the smooth jazz station, but that day, I went home, ran upstairs to my room, closed the door, which is a cardinal sin in a Black mother's house, and I waited on TRL to come on. And then it happened. Metallics in a black trash bag filled my TV screen, and I hear the coolest thing I'd ever heard in 8 years of living. Beep, beep, who got the keys to the Jeep? Vroom. And at that moment, I had my entire life figured out. I was going to grow up to be Missy Elliott. I spent the next 10 years of my life recording and rewinding videos to learn dance moves, passing that Dutch, get my freak on, trying to figure out what the hell she was saying and work it. There were so many artists I could have idolized at the time, but Missy was the only one who looked like me. Because of Melissa Elliott that I believe that a fat Black girl from Chicago could dance until she felt pretty, could be sexy and cool, could be a woman playing a man's game and not be apologetic about it. If you ask me what representation in the media is important, I will show you. My velour outfit and the matching Kango hat I begged my parents for. I will show you a woman who learned how to dance until she felt pretty. Feminism wears a throwback jersey, bamboo earrings, and a face beat for the gods. Feminism is the brat Missy Elliott, Lil' Kim, Angie Martinez, and Left Eye on the Not Tonight track. Feminism says, as a woman in my arena, you are not my competition. As a woman in my arena, your light doesn't make mine any dimmer. Dear Missy, I did not grow up to be you. But I did grow up to be me and to be in love with who this woman is, to be a woman playing a man's game and to not be apologetic about any of it. If you ask me what representation is important, I will tell you. On days I don't feel pretty, I hear the sweet voice of Missy singing to me, pop that, jiggle that fat, and don't stop, get it till your clothes get wet. I will tell you that right now there are a million girls just waiting to see someone who looks like them. Thank you all so much. My name is Ashley Hayes. It has been a joy to be here with you all. Please be sure to follow me. I'm on Instagram at Ashley Hayes. You can tune into my podcast, Hayes is Higher Learning, which is a podcast for creatives. We talk about all of the ways in which we do art as business and art in our lives. And season 4 is coming this spring, so be sure to check that out. All these links are on my Instagram or ashleyhayes.com. You all have been a joy. Please remember to hydrate, moisturize, mind your business, and wash your damn hands. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Wow. Yes, everybody follow, buy the book, listen to the do everything, y'all. Show some love. Thank you so much, Ashley, for being our featured artist for our Black History Month open mic. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Walker.
Kenny.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Walker, for being my co-host and also performing. We really appreciate your poems as well. And shout out and thank you to Armani for stepping up and performing. We love that. Yup. Yes, thank you to the Block and the Student Union for being our collaborators tonight. And also, last but not least, thank you to the Mosaic team for holding it down. Yeah, thank you everybody for watching and have a good night. Eat some dinner, go to sleep, you know. Thank you.